Hey there, Oroville Dam fam. It's July 6, 2019. I have an exclusive interview with Scott Cahill. You are not going to want to miss this, guys. Welcome to the show. So what'd you guys think of that DWR spin the bottle game? Pretty fun, huh? We got a lot of stuff like that we'll be doing this year and next year. 2020 is going to be an amazing year, I'm sure, as we get to reach out to more people and talk to more people about the Oroville Dam. Of course, we've talked to a lot of you people in the public, and you can always send me a message at Marty at OrovilleDamWatch.com, and I would love to hear your comments, your suggestions. We have an honor today, guys. We have Scott Cahill on the line, and we're going to be talking to him about the Oroville Dam. And I'm super excited because so much information has been released recently, especially yesterday on our website. You go out there and check out the data dump that we did. So Scott Cahill is a guy who is in construction, who knows dams, and he knows dams very well. He's worked on a lot of dams. His company does dam repairs and maintenance and inspections and everything. So he really knows what he's talking about. Not to mention, he doesn't have a dog in this fight, which means, he doesn't have anything to gain other than just trying to help you guys out with this information. So welcome with me right now, Scott Cahill.
Hello, Marty. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great today. How are you doing, Scott?
I'm doing great, buddy.
Oh, that's so awesome. Hey, we're so thankful for you guys because, being in construction and working on dams and everything, you guys are probably the closest voice of reason that there is out there. There's a lot of armchair engineers and a lot of people who have these different theories about things that are wrong with the dam, but I just wanted to thank you first just for bringing out, information and everything.
Well, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. It helps to offset some of the negativity that gets cast upon both of us.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. But
well, I think that people sense that things are not transparent. And I think that people like you, the service that you do is necessary because I agree with those people. I don't think that people are being forthright at all.
No. Now, have you had a chance to look at the answers that the DWR sent us back?
Yes, I have.
What were your thoughts?
Yes, I have.
I mean, they were very canned answers. And Erin Mellon was very nice. She was very nice to me. And, I could just tell that it was just a little too, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that Erin's background is a non-engineering background, and I think that she does her job and does it probably well in conveying the information that she's given to convey. And I think that is her job.
Right.
Many things about this. The issue that I have, in fact, with the Oroville Dam has less to do with the structure than it has to do with the stewardship of the structure. It has more to do with the maintenance and the communications and the administration than it does with the dam itself. And I think any dangers that have manifested themselves within the structure are not a result of the structure itself, but are a result of that administration.
Right.
So the board of consultants, and I had some communication with a fellow who asked that I not use his name and who had some knowledge of this. And the things that he said to me, this was a while back, but I think that they've proven out. And I think that these these people who consulted on this situation were limited only to the replacement of the spillway, the principal spillway itself, and nothing else.
Right.
And I think that they were dissuaded from other things, and I think the fact that the way the information was given to them supports that assertion that DWR gave them information, sat them down, walked them over the structure of the principal spillway with part of it inaccessible to them because it was wet and slippery, and then asked them for an assessment in a few hours.
Right.
Of what a good job they did. Well, of course, when a group of engineers, a board of consultants, is asked to look at a dam, or when a company such as ours is asked to evaluate a dam, we look at all information. And I think it's disingenuine to limit that if indeed it was limited.
Right.
Don't think that the principal spillway produces much of a liability to the dam itself. Even when it blew out, that was not the primary concern. It's not a controlling structure. So
right. So they had a release of water recently because of they lost water pressure at the spillway gates. And I know that Juan Brown originally said in one of his reports that the gates were metal to metal, but that's not really true, is it?
No, it is not. There's a seal and an inflatable seal, in fact, on these particular radial arm gates. And that seal is to seal against a wear plate, which I believe in these gates is bronze, and a stainless steel plate. And these seals the intent is that these gates not leak. This discussion that the gates were designed to leak, and even that, heaven forbid, that this water that is leaking through the gate is somehow lubricating the action of the gates, that's frivolous. That's not accurate. The gates were intended to be dry when closed, and when these seals were inflated with their pressures. And the gates were not intended to move water downstream. Although there is the possibility of some small transmission of water hither and yon, that is not desirable at any level. And what we're seeing there is certainly not how those gates were designed to be.
Right. Well, now...
Yeah, the gates, they appear to be racked, and they appear to be out of line, and they appear to be leaking pretty profusely.
Now, if
one of the gates previously was...
If they lower the lake level like they're doing right now, then they'll have access to that, am I right?
That is correct.
So if they can get it
and
down
also, that'll release the pressure on those gates, which is a significant amount of lateral pressure trying to push gates downstream, of course.
Right. Okay. So we received a picture from one of our viewers of a boat, and there was a couple of divers in the water, and they were right there at those two inlet tubes that are for future use, the ones that that don't go anywhere, I guess.
Yes.
And so I'm just curious, I know they're running the water level down so that they can work on the gates. That's pretty obvious. First they were saying, fill her up, we're going to 896, and then they got to 895.99, and then they did an about face. Now, I know that the sixth turbine is actually back at the Hyatt power plant, but it will be in operation in 2020, so it's going to be a while before they get it, back in operation. But there is also the river valve outlet system that they can use to release water, but it looks like they're keeping outflows around 7,000 CFS, so... They have to do that, right? I mean, in order to keep water in the river, they can't just they can't just say, "Oh, we're just going to turn the outflows way down," right? I mean, isn't Oroville supplies
need to maintain the fish population by releasing water into the river, and that is a sensible thing and a normal thing,
right?
And during hot summer times, they often release water from a lower elevation, and that has to do with fish population.
Okay.
When we talk about the methodologies to remove water from the reservoir, such as through the power plant, these numbers that we're talking about, that are tens of thousands of cubic feet per second, are insignificant numbers. And this is something that we've kind of abandoned in our conversation about this dam, is that the reality of this dam, and all such dams, high liability dams, high hazard dams, is that they have a design storm which they are required by law to pass. Now, the design storm, which the dam was designed to stand against without failure, is a magnificent storm. So, you know, when the emergency spillway failed, and they finally had to open up the principal spillway, which had also failed a couple of years ago, the storm that was being passed was only 4% of the design storm, which law requires this dam to be able to suffer without significant damage or loss of pull. So we make these arguments about 20,000 cubic feet or 10,000 cubic feet or 7,000 cubic feet as if this was somehow managing the dam, but this is nowhere close to managing the dam.
Okay.
The dam has to be brought up to a standard where it can pass the design storm. That requires all of the gate structure, all of the principal spillway, and all of the emergency spillway being able to be actuated to a significant flood wave.
Right.
Of a very large flood that has never occurred. So, although it appears that we, and by we I mean the world, is trying to control this dam with these insignificant releases through turbines and things, this is not how the dam is designed to be, nor is it meeting the minimum standards of regulation for this dam. So I think it's a little misleading when they say, well, we can always let water out through the turbines, because that is, you know, we're lucky in that it hasn't rained a lot, but it does sometimes rain a lot.
Right.
And we're lucky that we've seen nothing. We've only seen 4% of the design storm.
Right.
But eventually that dam will see the design storm. And that is the level to which the dam has to come in order to be safe in the eyes of the regulators.
Right.
It's not even close.
Now, I know that when the original failure happened in 2017, that there had been a really long drought, like 14 or 15 years or something, that the concrete on the spillway had pretty much remained dry, except for, I imagine, whatever rain might have fallen on it. Now, there was only 2 feet of concrete then, and now we have like 6 to 7 feet of concrete. But is there a possibility that could happen again if they don't use the principal spillway for, let's just say, 2-3 years? I mean, is there a possibility that the concrete will dry out and that they could end up with that same problem? Or is this different concrete?
Before, there's a disagreement, I think, among the community of engineers on exactly how the failure occurred of the plate slabs of the principal spillway the last time around. And it's my belief that the occurrence of the failure of that structure was a result of a harmonic disruption of the slabs.
Right.
And others disagree with that. Dr. B felt that it was spalling had something to do with it, and other people have put forth other assessments of it.
We agree with you, because our data shows that it was at odds with itself, basically, you know, when water was running over it, almost like an out-of-tune instrument or something.
There was some data, which was seismic data, that was offered to DWR, which showed what were monitors as small quakes that occurred whenever they opened the principal spillway. And that that was brought up and then kind of never discussed again. But it supported my assertion when the spillways failed back in 2017 that it was a harmonic failure. That would require that there be water both above and below the slabs. I believe that it's apparent that there was.
Mm-hmm.
And now, where we stand right at this moment, in my opinion, is that I'm much less worried about the principal spillway itself. And yes, it may fail and wash downstream pretty much regardless of the mass of the slab or the thickness of the slabs.
Right.
It's dependent on differential flow and pressures across the slabs, and it will change the frequency at which that harmonic would have to actuate in order to destroy the slabs. But certainly they could, and I think they probably will fail under the right circumstances. But I think the issue here with this dam is not is certainly the gate structure.
Mm-hmm.
And the gate structure, I see them filling holes at the surface, which have manifested up as rising dome failures. I see them picking up ports, which are evolving in the RCC downstream of the structure in the OG weir.
Mm-hmm.
And I see all this evolution of water through there. And I also see an apparent differential settlement of the foundation of the gate structures. And this, we see this in differential settlement,
mm-hmm.
in the racking of the gates, where the gate was stuck closed and would only open a few feet.
Right.
The galling of the wear plates on the gates, and the cracks, which have continued to grow. So if this gate structure is sitting on a sound foundation, then you would think there would be very little of this kind of thing occurring. And if there is indeed some porting of water beneath the foundation of the gate structure, all the things that we have seen would be what we would see if that were occurring. So that's very suspect to me, that we have water moving fines, which is moving beneath the foundation of the gate structure, and that the gate structure has some differential settlement of the foundation, causing these binding gates and things.
And from what our research shows, we're seeing that the drain lines that they installed are actually mostly plugged. So, and nobody assessed that in the Board of Consultants independent review. And also the Board of Consultants review, isn't that a peer review? I mean, it's like if you ask my friends to review me, I hope all of them would say I'm a great guy. But if they wouldn't, they probably wouldn't be reviewing me. So I don't know. I think they had some choice there in deciding, who got to review them. And the whole fact that they were having to have a Board of Consultants review board was because of the original independent forensics report, which really didn't look that good for the dam, and it really pointed a lot of light on the mismanagement of the infrastructure, like you're saying, not the structure, but the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So Bill Croyle was the original DWR guy when all of this stuff happened, and now he's retired and enjoying a nice life. And I was just wondering, what is the DWR? What is their methodology or the psychology behind these different things? When they have a catastrophe or a crisis like they did in 2017, they just fire that guy and they just get a new guy. Is that the way it works? Or I mean, is there any longevity to any of their positions if this dam fails? I mean, won't they all be out of a job, basically?
It's really an interesting situation when you talk about Croyle, who was the acting director.
Right.
And Croyle, the acting director, you notice that there's never a man who is put forth as the responsible person. Everything is by committee.
Right.
Everything is distributed responsibility. And indeed, when we look at these 5 experts who they brought in, they selected them, they hired them, they paid them. Mm-hmm. These are people, I would imagine, who either are doing work for DWR or who wish they were doing work for DWR in the future.
Right.
The other thing that they did, and this is an understanding, this is a secondhand understanding from someone who was kind enough to call me and tell me what his experiences were.
Right.
They were directed on what they were to evaluate and exactly how they were to evaluate it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they actuated the spillway, and a month later, these 5 experts were brought out. They were sat down by DWR and told what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got to walk on a part of the spillway and then come up with their report, which they came up with 3.5 hours later, as I understand it.
Right.
Now, that's a heck of a situation. When I evaluate a dam, and I have done this for many, many people, they open the gates, they hand me keys, and they say, go look at my dam.
Right.
I crawl through the pipes, I dig holes in the ground, I monitor drains, I send cameras up drains, I send cameras down drains, I put divers in the water, and the divers penetrate deeply into the dam within the conduits that go through the dam.
Mm-hmm.
And we assess these things, and then we write a report.
Right.
Nobody has ever sat me down and told me what happened and then asked me to write a report explaining to them what happened as I told them.
Right.
So I think that it's very suspicious, and I think it's inappropriate also to have people, first of all, it's inappropriate to tell them what they are to assess.
Sure.
And secondly, I think it's inappropriate to have people doing this kind of a thing. Not that I'm saying anyone is dishonest or would be swayed by this, but, you know, if your business, say 10 or 20% of your business was doing work for DWR, or if you had an engineering firm and you dreamed of doing work for DWR,
right.
which, by the way, you know, a branch of DWR is California Dam Safety. So if you want to do any work in California, you wouldn't want to piss these guys off real bad. So you would definitely have an interest in limiting this.
Right.
The fellow I talked to told me that they were told not to assess the gate structure or the OG weir, the emergency spillway.
Right.
But only the spillway slab. Well, that's an odd thing to tell someone who's assessing a dam.
Sure.
So anyway, I think it's very suspicious.
Yes.
I do. I don't know. I cannot say that anyone's doing anything nefarious or improper.
Right.
I just think it's suspicious that it was done that way, and it does not appear to me to be an appropriate way to assess the liabilities that the dam creates.
Well, dam ownership is a very serious thing. You know, a lot of people don't realize it because they've never owned a dam. And if you do own a dam, you're responsible for the lives downstream. And you're also responsible for communicating with the people that would be affected should anything happen with your dam. And you're responsible for the upkeep and for the, you know, the maintenance and for, you know, any work or anything that has to be done. And I've looked through all of these dam safety manuals and stuff about dam ownership that they give people when they own a dam. And I just wonder if the DWR was ever handed the little packet with the little guy with the little hard hat, the little beaver on it with the hard hat. You know, if they've ever seen, you know, this end of it, or if their end of dam ownership is, because they've done fairly well with Bullard's Bar. I mean, they've managed to buy it from PG&E, you know, after 80 years, and they're adding another spillway there. So, you know, one of the things that I wanted to ask you was, as far as Kiewit being the contractor, have you looked at the original bids for the 3 bids for the job for doing the dam?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, I will send those to you. I thought it was kind of interesting because Oroville Dam Constructors, which I'm like, man, where have I heard that name before? Oh, yeah, they're the people who built the dam. Okay, they bid on it, and one of the things in their bid was $8 million for fill dirt, and Kiewit's bid was $4 million. And now we're seeing all this fill dirt being transported in these articulated dump trucks that they have there at the dam. They're running 6 trucks, and they're running from one side to the other across that new little bridge that they put down at the bottom of the spillway, which that seems like it was kind of an afterthought too as well. But anyway, they did put in the new road down at the bottom of the spillway, and the water runs underneath it and all that. And they're running 30 trucks an hour, so they're moving about 1.8 million pounds of dirt from one side of the dam to the other. And I believe that was part of their whole deal. Was that they were going to use all of the resources that were there, and they weren't going to try to, get a lot from outside. They were going to bust up all the rocks that were there, which we've noticed they've done there. They had their own plant, little gravel plant there. But so many people have asked us, with them being a contract mining company, is there some possibility that Kiewit could contract mine and work at the dam on the infrastructure at the same time? Would that be a conflict?
I would think it would be a conflict if that were occurring. I don't know if it is or if it could.
Right. Well, we don't have any legal proof to say, where the dirt went that was taken on the barges. Remember the barges that came and took all that silt away? There's a lot of gold in there, so come on, somebody's bought that. They said, come on, it's just dirt. It came out of the river, I'll buy it for you. One cent a ton.
Exactly.
So, but yeah. Well, we really, really appreciate your time, and the information that you have is so it's so realistic, and it really helps to kind of like calm me down, so I'm not so whacked out about this whole thing. But
we've got 80,000 dams in the U.S. and I've had some involvement in not nearly all of them, but a lot of them. So I've got a lot of dam memories bouncing around in this old head. I think that certainly the inspection of the dam, I don't think they want me anywhere close to that dam. And to be fair, I was out on the dam, and I did look at it, and they did allow me access to areas that they didn't allow anyone else access to.
Huh.
So I must say that.
Yeah.
But as far as getting a greater level of comfort, that is something that I don't have. I'm quite concerned about the gate structure at this point, and I think they are also. I think that when you look at them putting shoring in to support the structure itself, elements of the structure,
right,
and the continuance of inspections and
now is the shoring to make it to where they can drive heavy trucks over the top of it? No, that doesn't have anything to do with it, huh?
No. The weight of a truck and the vibration that a truck produces in crossing over that is insignificant compared to the pressures induced on that structure by the water itself.
Right, that makes sense.
Not even comparable.
That makes sense.
So they filled the thing up. They had a plan. They said, we're going to fill it to this level, and then we're going to keep it at this level.
Right.
And then they filled it, and they opened the thing up for a bit, and then they closed it, and then they had a new plan. We're going to fill it up the whole way up. In fact, we're going to let the emergency spillway actuate. Well, right. I don't know about you, but I remember last time that happened. That wasn't a pleasant experience.
Mm-mm.
So I was, that didn't ring reasonable or true to me. Now they have a new plan. It seems like you can't even criticize the plan because it changes so frequently.
That was one of the things that I was going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
Maybe the DWR is schizophrenic or bipolar in its nature? I don't know, but I
think it is.
It really it's been very, very wishy-washy and kind of bouncy back and forth.
Well, when you cry and say, why do these people not trust me?
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
Right.
You were talking about the stewardship of dams and the responsibility. This goes back to the time of Hammurabi. This is one of the most basic tenets of English-based law is the responsibility of stewardship of dams.
Mm-hmm.
This is a significantly documented thing. And if you're going to carry that kind of responsibility, then your communication should be concise and unchanging. You should make a statement and stand by that statement, and people should see that. And what I see is that they make a statement and then it changes, and then they make a second statement and it changes, and they make a third statement and it changes. Making statements like, the green spot is just, and I won't even get into that, but it's such an interesting evaluation of the communications. It was caused by rain. It was caused by water running down the backside of the dam. It was a port. It wasn't a port. I mean, I don't even know where it is this week. It's changed so many times.
While we're talking about this, I'm going to be showing people this video of this earthen dam failure in Brazil. It's from this year for sure. Mm-hmm. And it starts at the bottom. It starts down like where or not in the bottom, but about in the middle, about where the grassy spot would be. And so that grassy spot, though people have said they've debunked it and said there's nothing to it, there really could be something to it. And if you watch this video, I'll send it to you, Scott, you'll be really blown away, because a lot of people think that, this dam has to be overtopped in order to fail. But, water seeping through. Once it starts coming out, it's over. So I wonder if they've sent divers down to go look at the, I believe somebody said that they did, to go look at the dam down at the base, down below. There's plenty of videos out there where the lake is super low and you can see it. But
yeah, when you lower the reservoir, that's when you can see the pressure side of the ports.
Okay.
I did a dam up in the northeast where the whole lake was karst, and the bottom of this reservoir was perforated with ports that evolved through the dam, and we had to plug many of these ports with a bentonite slurry that we produced with Portland. Mm-hmm. And that is, it's never a straight line. It's never simple. It's always coming from. It's very difficult to find these things, and it's very difficult to route them. There are many branches to them often, and they're very complex. They go up and down significantly. But like you said, and there have been many dams that have failed from porting.
Right.
When it starts moving soil, it is a significant failure mode for a dam. And when you see settlement of a structure, a hard element of a dam, like a gate structure, and you see muddy water manifesting, that should cause concern for people.
Right.
If the gate structure is lost, then that is a serious issue with the dam that I would think, and I don't know what their plan is, but I would think that would trigger a response under the emergency action plan for that dam.
Right. Well, it's the gates. I know the gates are not looking good, and they know they're not looking good, and that's why they're going to bring the water level down so that they can actually get in there and do something about it. So, well, we're going to stay on their tail, and that's about all we can do. We're kind of like a nip and chihuahua, back there, just reminding them that, the public is here, and we really want answers from them. And they've been forthcoming with the answers, but I believe that the answers that they gave me were kind of the answers that I expected them to give me. So I don't expect anybody to come out in an email and say, hey, psst, I got to tell you something. There's some stuff going on here. They're not going to do it in an email. But anyway, well, I guess we'll just keep following this and watching it. And we're going to be releasing information in our show today for people to be able to go check out some of the original bids for the construction, to be able to see how it was that Kiewit managed to get this job. I know they're definitely qualified infrastructure people. The one thing that I thought was very interesting was, if you go on Kiewit's website, the Oroville Dam project isn't listed. It's listed on their news pages, on several news pages, but it's not listed in their portfolio of jobs that they've done. And I wonder if that's because of all the the hype and all the stuff that's been surrounded around it. And also, I just wanted to say how much we appreciate your wife, Lisa, too, because I know that she did she did information on the water levels and all the data and everything, and boy, is she one smart cookie. So
yeah,
she's really smart. And
she is brilliant. She's the brains of the organization. I'm the figurehead, like the Queen of England.
Yeah.
And she really does everything.
Yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it is with my wife too. So
I don't know. The thing that you're doing, I think, is very important, because I agree with you. I don't think that the communication from DWR is accurate, and I don't think that it's forthcoming and candid. And so, what you're doing is very important. Don't stop.
Oh, we won't.
I'll be watching.
Okay.
I'll be watching.
All right. Well, you guys have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye, Scott.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lisa. That was really awesome, and we really appreciate Scott taking the time out of his busy schedule to be with us, and we just want to thank Scott Cahill and his wife, Lisa Cahill, for doing what they do to get the word out there about potential issues at the Oroville Dam. What'd you guys think of that? Pretty amazing, huh? I know I'm definitely be watching this one again. But hey guys, be sure to like this video and subscribe and comment and let us know how you feel. We know you guys don't really have a problem doing that. Some of you just can't help yourselves, right? So anyway, we'll be bringing more great content to you very soon. We have some interviews lined up here with some pretty amazing people, so we're going to get those to you and get the truth out about the deep state end of Kiewit and what's going on in our next video. There is a lot of seismic activity in California right now and unrest, so this is reason, if you live near the dam, to just have a little heightened sense of awareness, because this could potentially affect us. So just make sure you have an emergency plan and an exit strategy for you and your family and for your pets. So you guys have a great day, and God bless all of you.